Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel once again. Christian Edgar back with yet another exciting video. In today's video we are going to look at the building process that we went through while building our 5-bedroom mansion, right from the substructure to the roofing phase. Now under the substructure there is the foundation and the plinth wall and the ground floor slab. Then the superstructure has the block holding for ground floor, first floor, the suspended first floor slab, and the roofing phase. So that's what makes up the shell of our structure. Now when it comes to construction of any building, any house, whatever it is, there are always two teams that are responsible for the existence of any, that contribute to the existence of any building or a house, and one of them is the CAD team. Now the CAD team is the one that is responsible for the coming up with the sketches of the building. Then the technical team is the one that implements what the CAD team has brought up in the sketches. The sketches, I mean architecture drawings, structural drawings, all those things. So if you have those drawings on site, you will have yourself stress free when it comes to construction of your building. You will avoid that guesswork on site. So it is important that you have architectural drawings on site. And the technical team is also so important because it is the team that implements what the CAD team has developed, come up with in sketches. Then now me, when I'm usually coming up with these sketches, designing a structure, coming up with the architectures, I always put in mind certain things when designing, and one of them is the external drainage system of the house. I always don't like drainage pipes to be running on the surface of the wall because it makes the wall surface very untidy. So I always make provision for drainage ducts whenever I'm designing any structure, any house, because when you have those drainage ducts, you won't have the external drainage pipes running on the surface of your wall, and your wall will look very tidy in that. Even when you're positioning bathrooms, toilets, it is important. So you need to put in mind that you don't just scatter toilets anywhere when you're designing your building, because if you scatter them anywhere, then it means you'll have the external drainage pipes of your building running on the surface of your wall. So today we are going to look at this 5-bedroom mansion, and we'll look at its construction right from the materials that we use to construct it, right from the foundation, that's the substructure, to the roofing phase. So I would like you to stay tuned.
So we are looking at the architecture drawing for our 5-bedroom house. Earlier on in our previous videos, we have been looking at the construction of this 5-bedroom mansion, and we looked at the substructure, how it was constructed, and the materials that we used and why we used those materials in the substructure. Then we also looked at part of the superstructure, where we looked at the phase that comes next after the ground slab to the first floor suspended slab. Yeah, so if you haven't watched those videos, you can go check them out on my channel and watch them. One of them is building the foundation of a 5-bedroom mansion, and then the other one is building the 5-bedroom mansion from ground floor slab to the first floor suspended slab. Just to have a quick review through what we went through in our previous video for the construction of this 5-bedroom mansion. With the foundation, we looked at what we start with, and what we start with on the foundation of a storage 5-bedroom mansion was the installation of the pad footings. The fact that this is a storage structure, it requires pad footings where the starter columns are attached, where the starter column bars are attached, because the starter column bars are attached onto the pad footings that are below them before the casting of the pad footings. Then after installing all the columns and the pad footings, we start on the excavation of the trenches for the plinth wall. Now the excavation for the trenching of the plinth wall, yes, we had looked at the plinth wall of this particular house, and we had seen that the height isn't uniform. The height of this plinth wall is not uniform. We realized that the height of this plinth wall on this upper side is shorter compared to its height on the lower side, and we saw the reason why. So that's why you need to watch those previous videos that we made about the construction of this 5-bedroom mansion. So after excavating the plinth wall trenches, then we start on the building of the plinth wall. Now while we are building the plinth wall, we should not forget to put hoop iron every after 3 courses, because it is that hoop iron that will prevent those excessive cracks that are likely to affect your wall from extending to the walls above. Yes, the fact that hoop iron has stronger tensile properties compared to mortar, it's best that we place it in our plinth wall every after 3 courses. Yes, so that in case of any uneven settlement on the building, the cracks in your wall don't affect the walls above. Yes, they don't extend to the walls above. Yes, so it's important that you have the hoop iron placed in your plinth wall. During the construction of our plinth wall, we also added a plinth beam in our plinth wall on the lower side. The fact that the lower side of our plinth wall height reached a meter high, and we still needed to add more extra courses so that we catch up with the uniform level of brickwork for the whole plinth wall. So the purpose of this plinth beam is to reduce on the settlement issues that the building may suffer, and also prevent the extension of those cracks from extending to the walls above in case the building suffers any uneven settlements. Then after the construction of the plinth wall, we now go to the phase of backfilling. Now with the backfilling phase, we have a maram backfilled in that hollow space in between the plinth wall. Then on top of the maram layer, we place a layer of hardcore. Now hardcore is also important because it strengthens the foundation more. The fact that this is a solid structure foundation, it requires more strength, and addition of hardcore strengthens the foundation more. So on top of the hardcore layer, we add a layer of sun blinding. Yes, and after adding the layer of sun blinding, we add a layer of DPM. Now DPM is also important, because when you add DPM, the floor of your house won't suffer structural dampness. The fact that DPM cuts off that moisture capillarity that rises from the ground levels to the floor of your house, so you won't have those issues of structural dampness being affected by moisture in the floor of your house. On top of DPM, we add a layer of BRC. Now BRC is also important, because when you add BRC, your wall will be protected from those excessive cracks that may likely affect the ground floor of your house. Yes. Then after adding BRC, we now start the casting process. So the casting process of our slab is done. Then after that seals the substructure phase. Yes, now after the substructure phase, we also looked at another phase which is under the superstructure, and that was from the ground floor slab to the first floor suspended slab. And the phase that we looked at was after the casting of the ground floor slab, we start on another phase, and that is setting out process. Now we set out the walls of the house using the architecture drawings. Then as we set out the walls of the house, we are also making extension of the ground floor columns, attaching them onto the overlaps of the starter columns. So before we do that first course, after the ground floor slab is cast, you should not forget to place a layer of DPC, because DPC will also protect your walls from being affected by that water. The fact that it cuts off that water rise from the lower ground levels into your walls. Yes, so your wall won't suffer structural dampness. Now then we start on the block work and build, as we also work on the columns. These columns have stair-ups, and the common term that we use on site is rings. Now these columns are also so important, and these rings are also important because you see the rings add more stability and strength to the column so that it doesn't buckle. So that is why it is not a good thing for you to give them a spacing that is beyond 0.12 meters. Yes, it's important that you space your rings not at a maximum of 0.2 meters so that the column doesn't buckle. Yes, that adds more strength and stability to your columns. Do formwork for the columns and cast them as well. Then after casting the columns, we now start on the first floor suspended slab. Now with the first floor suspended slab, I remember we looked at 4 important crucial things that need to be considered and checked properly before the casting process goes on. And one of them was the carpentry work. Yes, with the carpentry work, which includes the formwork for the drop beams, formwork for the staircases, and also formwork and making props for the first floor suspended slab, which are going to give it support for the 21 days. So we check all that, and once we ensure that it is all well done, all the carpentry work is done well, then we can now give a go ahead for the people to cast the slab. Then the second thing is the electrical installation works. Now the electrical installation works, remember, there are those conduit pipes that are usually chested into the slab, and those are the pipes where the wires pass when the electrical engineer is wiring the building. So they have to be checked also. They have to be checked to ensure that they won't be blocked when they are doing the casting of the concrete casting of the floor slab. So they are checked well. Then once everything is well, then you can now give a go ahead for the boys to cast the slab. Then the third thing is the plumbing works. Now the plumbing works, remember, there are those drainage pipes that are usually chested in the slab wherever there is going to be any drainage waste products. So we check all those drainage pipes, whether they are well chested into the slab and that they won't be blocked by the concrete while casting. Then once it is well done, then we can now give a go ahead for the boys to cast the slab. Then the fourth thing, which is very important, is the steel works. Now the steel works are so important as far as the concrete slab is concerned, because it is those iron bars that are reinforced in the concrete slab that help to support the slab in case the slab wants to fail under any tension. Yes, so it is important that you check out on those iron bars and then see that they are well intact, because they are so important. You have to check them and see that they are well tied up. They are well tied up. All the drop beams are well tied up. All the slab beams are well tied up, because in case of any tension, your concrete slab won't fail. The fact that the steel works are well done. So after checking the steel works, you can now give the go ahead to the boys to start casting the slab. Then after the casting of the first floor slab, we can now go ahead and start on the phase which finalizes our shell. The fact that this house has only 2 floors, the ground floor and the first floor. Yes, so we go ahead and do the final phase that seals up our shell, and this is the first floor phase to roofing phase. So to start with, we also start with the setting out process of the walls with the help of the architecture drawings. Then we do the extension of the first floor columns, attaching them onto the ground floor columns. Then we do formwork for those columns and cast them as well. Now we build the first floor walls to a height of 2.8 meters. When we reach the height of 2.8 meters, we put a ring beam all over on top of the whole entire wall. So the ring beam runs on top of that whole entire wall, and then we do formwork for it. But before we cast this ring beam, we should not forget to incorporate hoop iron in between the reinforced beam, because it's a reinforced ring beam. We reinforce it with iron bars, and we also put hoop iron in it. This hoop iron is the one that will help hold and support the wall plate. Yes, because in case of any strong winds, the roof of your house won't be blown off. The fact that its wall plate where the whole roof sits is supported by this hoop iron. Yes, you should put that hoop iron. You should not forget to put that hoop iron in the ring beam, because once you forget, then it means you will have to chisel your wall to make provision for that hoop iron to be placed, and that may weaken your wall a bit. After placing the hoop iron, we cast our ring beam. Then after casting the ring beam, we now add 2 more extra courses. Then after adding the 2 more extra courses, then now we reach the wall plate level, then start on the roofing phase. This is the roofing phase, as you can see, but this particular house, it has a rooftop slab, as you can see. In between, in the middle, is a rooftop slab. Yeah, so this is the rooftop slab, and one of the sections is where the tanks are going to sit. So this is the roof of our house, as you can see, and I think it's perfect work. Thank you very much for watching. So yes, you can build, even when you don't have the money at once, you can start on the construction of your building. Yes, with the help of these phases. Yeah, you ensure that when you start, you have the money that is enough to do the whole substructure. The substructure consists of the foundation, and then you take a rest when you are done with casting the ground floor slab. Then after that, you raise more money, and you ensure by the time you come back that that money that you raised is enough for you to build the whole ground floor, block walling, and the columns till the first floor suspended slab. Then once you're done with casting the first floor suspended slab, you can again still take a rest. Then as you raise more money, you come back again and then do the final phase of the shell. So then you do the final phase. You ensure that when you come back, you have the money that is enough to take you through to the roofing phase. Then when you're done with the roofing phase, you can still take some rest as you gather some funds. Then you come back again. Now when you come back again, you go to another phase, which is the finishing phase. With the finishing phase, it has the fitting in of the windows and doors, the interior and exterior plastering, and so on. Thank you very much for watching. If you're new to the channel, please don't forget to hit the subscription button. If you're a returning subscriber, thank you very much for always coming back. I remain Christian. God bless you.